How did you pursue this passion? Like, what was high school like musically for you? Was there a bunch of stuff popping in high school?
Oh, so like now, high school, now we're talking about, it's the cold chilling era. Biz Markie, Big Daddy Kane. Like, you know, this is what's really bumping. Like, Big Daddy Kane was like the Jay-Z of that time. Like,
Right.
you know, he was the dope guy. Everybody wanted his kicks, his hairstyles and whatnot. So I was heavily into that. But another thing, which I guess has helped me till this day, was that I never, ever, ever put music in a box. Like, I would pick up that Big Daddy Kane or that Biz Markie record, but I would still be picking up Whitesnake or Guns N' Roses. I was a heavy into heavy metal music in my early days in high school. I went back and forth between heavy metal and hip hop.
Okay, let's talk about your favorite heavy metal acts of that era, just so that we get that down.
I'll tell you, the Iron Maiden definitely was one of the favorites. I don't know if it was because of Eddie and the whole thing, I got sucked into that. I had like the Poisons and the White Snakes, the Motley Crues. I was a fan of Motley Crue in those early days.
Yo, thank
there
you.
was something. Let me break down something, and some of my people over 40 will know what I'm talking about. They had something that was called Columbia House Records back in the days.
Yeah.
And they had this promotion. I think you paid 99 cents and you would get like 12 cassettes. Nobody ever paid after that. We would get them, get the cassettes, and it was done with that. And I guess the record labels made so much money, they never chased after any of us. So I paid my 99 cents or $1. And I will tell you, the majority of that dozens cassettes was like heavy metal stuff. I was heavily into that.
Yo, that's amazing. I know Columbia House. That's actually part of my story of getting into music. I can it was like Eiffel 65 was hot when I was getting into Columbia House. I remember seeing it saying Abu Dai in the Columbia House, and then there was this big debate going on. Anyway, that's not that important. But yeah, I know Columbia House pretty fucking well. So that's really cool of you to share that. That was so, like, that connects you to everybody here watching is going to connect you on that plan. Be like, yo, I have that in common with Don Smooth. At least, so definitely early 30s is part of that group, and even younger. So Don Smooth is building up this fresh-ass music collection via amazing tactics like Columbia House. He's into heavy metal and all sorts of hip-hop. And what else is going on in high school? What's that like for you with regards to it? Is hip-hop popping off in your school? Are you seeing people become rappers? Like, is stuff actually going on? I don't know anything about what it's like to be in this era, but you said hip-hop was really starting off in Montreal at this point.
So like I said, so now we've reached the high school age. Now this is the time, like I said, this is the mid to late 80s era. This is, like I said, when the Cold Chillins are really big, the KRS-ones are coming out, the MC Shans. This is the whole Queensbridge, South Bronx era when they're going back and forth with each other and whatnot. This is at least at the beginning anyhow. So like the hip hop culture is hitting. People are starting to travel to the States and bring back the clothes, and they bring it back. Now we got more video. So now we're getting more visuals. What's going on? They're making more. We're seeing a lot more music videos. So now we have a much better view. We can see everything that's going on, as opposed to in the 80s, we weren't seeing things as much. But at this point in time now, late 80s, we're seeing everything fully. We're fully aware of the culture, the fashion. It's just a little Greyhound ride to New York City to go down there, and you could be rocking the same Jordans that you see in the videos. And we had all the hairstyles, and everything like that. It was moving really fast. Like, you saw it everywhere. Like, the girls had the big, the door knocker earrings, like the rope chains. Like, you saw it. It was very visible.
That's amazing. And at this point, are you still involved in music, or are you just a fan kind of growing through it? Like, I don't know exactly when your career starts, so I feel like at some point you start to get more like invested into music directly.
I'm still a fan. Like, I love entertainment, so I would be going to any little shows, any like underage teen shows that I was able to go to. Checkers used to do a lot of shows. We used to just go and watch the dudes break in the Spectrum, legendary spot in Montreal. But at this point in time, now I'm in high school, I'm doing music now. So now I'm learning music, but from the theoretical side. And
because you said
in the
you
music
chose
class
in
now,
the music program.
Yeah, I chose the music program. So now I'm like, I dabbled with instruments as a kid, but nothing really like fully. But now I'm actually learning theory and counting bars and measures and how to read music. And I was playing a saxophone, alto saxophone. I started that when I was like 13 years old. And I played that for most of my years in high school. Played in the high school band and all of that stuff, playing saxophone. So then that split my music. Like, there was always the music, like the records, but I didn't take it as anything. I was just collecting music. But then I really started getting into learning how to play it.
So at this point, then you're definitely getting music theory because you're learning the saxophone, and there's no way you're in a band. Are you doing like choreographies? Are you like doing marchings and whatnot, or is it like?
No, we didn't have marching band, but it was the type of thing where like, we had the school band, so like maybe we would go perform at another school, or we would go and perform at like the elementary school when they're trying to do open houses to get the next generation of kids to come over there and stuff like that.
Oh, that's dope. That's still great. It shows a really big value of participating in your school band should one be available because, Don Smooth learned a whole lot, and look at his life today. It's definitely been a value. That's a little knowledge nugget for y'all. But, like, what happens then? Does high school end before you start your career? Or, like, what? Do you go to CEGEP? Like,
no, I always say, like, Don Smooth, the DJ, it started actually, before Swinston, I even left that out. I went to a junior high. I went to a French junior high to learn French between grade 7 and 9, also in the Saint Laurent area, not too far from Winston. So that's where I did all the band stuff, actually. So at this point in time now, it's a junior high, right? So it's grade 7 to 9. So when you're in grade 9 now, you get to be the ones to play music. They used to have like parties at lunchtime in the cafeteria. So you had to be the grade 9 kids were the ones that were able to do this. So we're in grade 7, I'm in grade 7 and I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, like, this is so dope. Like, it's a party. Everybody's excited. There's like so much energy in the room. And I'm like, I'm looking at the DJ and I'm like, this is the guy that's doing all this. This is the guy that's controlling this crowd, controlling this room, dictating the energy. And I mean, I'm not thinking about it that technically at 13 years old, but I just basically said, I want to do that. I was like, that's some cool shit. Like, I saw what he was doing, the reaction he was getting. I was like, I want to do that. And that's where I really started saying, I'm going to start looking into this. And it was my goal in grade 7. I was like, when I'm grade 9, I'm going to be the guy that's going to be doing that. And it's something that a lot of the guys wanted to do. But I had it in my head. I was like, when the time comes around, I'm making sure I get that gig.
All right. So how did Don Smooth get that gig? Or did you get that
Truth
gig?
be told, you know what? It's how I knew how to position myself, right? Like, we also had a dance program, like I mentioned. So from grade 7, I volunteered. I would come and help set up the speakers, or I would carry the speakers or carry the tape decks and carry the mixer. So I made sure that I was positioning myself to get close to that environment. So that just continued grade 7 to grade 8. I would get a bigger role or more responsibility. So by the time I got to grade 9, it was almost like naturally, like, who else are we going to put there? This guy has been there since grade 7. I'll be the ones doing the odd jobs that nobody wanted and carrying wires and the speakers and all that. So by the time it came to grade 9, I just walked right into it pretty much.
Yo, y'all know what he just told y'all? That's some big time knowledge nuggets. That's like some secrets of success. Like if you read corporate business books, it'll tell you what Don Smooth told you in a tiny anecdote. Look at what needs to be done. Learn your shit. Be available. Don't say no. Those are all parts of what you said. I'm just kind of paraphrasing it a little bit.
I got you.
And in the end, he outshined his competition because I bet all those other people were like, no, and whatever. But Don Smooth was there. So whenever people looked around and they needed somebody to get it done, Don Smooth was there. And then what happened? Don Smooth accomplished his goal. That's amazing. That's some big time.
But like, Holden and everybody in the chat, we know this. Like, whether it's the 80s, the 90s, or now, you put in that work. You put in the work and the consistency. If there's one thing, I know people on Twitch, you guys are going to pop in and out throughout this interview. It's as basic as I can make it. Consistency and put in that work. It sounds cliche, but they say, what is it they say about luck? It's when opportunity and preparedness come together. That's what it is, man. There's no luck. Put in the work. Something will come of it. Maybe it won't come right away or as fast as you want, but it will come. And consistency.